Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Dr.Ali Shareef. I hail from Bangalore. As I start, first let me thank the Jamaat-e-Islami Hind Department of Human Resource Development for inviting me for this program called the Comprehensive Leadership Development Program. My topic today will be on industry microfinance, concepts, managements, and success stories. A little brief about myself. I have been working for the last 18, 19 years in the fields of venture capital, management consulting, and supply chain industries. As a professional work, I'm currently a partner at Mount Judi Ventures, which is one of the first ethical venture capital funds in India. I'm also a member of member of the board of a company called Rehbar, which is one of the first in implementing ethical finance in India as well. I've served earlier as a director with Deloitte Touche Tohmatsu for around 6.5 years, and I was a manager at PricewaterhouseCoopers before that, and prior to which I spent some time working in the US and UK. Alhamdulillah, as far as my education goes, I've been very much blessed by the Almighty. I've studied my master's in development management from the London School of Economics in UK. I did my MBA from the IIM Ahmedabad in the year 2000. And I've also done a certificate in special studies in administration and management from Harvard University. I hail from Bangalore, and I did my BTech in industrial engineering from BMS College, Bangalore here. Alhamdulillah, Allah has also blessed me by given me the benefit of being able to be a part of many social initiatives, especially relating to working with the community. What I'm going to talk to you about today is that I've been about the Lifeline Foundation, where I've been the General Secretary since 2007. I'm also Treasurer at Shama Trust since 2012, which operates HBS Hospital and Shama Institute of Medical Sciences. I've been the Vice President of Crescent Group of Institutions in Baswantagudi here in Bangalore, a founder trustee of Lead Trust and Millat Relief Trust, among others. And I thank Allah for giving me these opportunities to serve and be a part of whatever little work we've been doing. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the Lifeline Foundation and how it has tried to make alive interest-free microfinance in a practical manner. So let me just put up the presentation to you. Just give me a moment, please. Yes, I hope you can see the screen. Lifeline Foundation was actually started in 2010 formally by a group of philanthropists and concerned citizens in Bangalore city. Basically, what we were seeing is a lot of poverty around us, and we were thinking of what can we do to actually come out with an economical solution, economics-based solution to the problems being faced by the community. So our target is to help the poor, especially those who are unable to access credit or get it at very unfair terms, with the aim to root out usurious lending from the poor. We saw that especially in Bangalore, like I'm sure in many other cities, the interest rates in the slums where the poor access finance from the money lenders range from anything from 100 to 200 to 250%. This was like unacceptable to us, and when I got to know about it, we were actually shocked that how can this kind of thing be happening right in our neighborhoods. I mean, for us, even 5, 10%, 15% of interest seems to be huge, but how come the poor are getting it at 100, 200%? So Lifeline started with this mission. The vision of Lifeline, of course, is a longer term equitable society where people are free of poverty. So our fight is directly with poverty. And our mission is to empower the poor by providing funds, resources, guidance, and support in an Islamically compliant manner so that they become financially strong. Alhamdulillah, over the last 10 years, we have been running, we've reached a level where we're running 18 branches across Bangalore. We have around 2,225 women members. We've been able to give roughly around 23,000 plus micro loans. We've trained around 230 micro entrepreneurs. We've also done a lot of work in the space of education and health. because these are we believe foundational areas to improve society and the slums we operate in. So we've been giving a lot of scholarships, education loans. We also help people in clearing their hospital bills or for their medicines. And we also have been constantly running medical camps to identify health problems early and to bring down the cost of healthcare for the poor. So, as we start, let us remember what actually motivated us. These are the words from the Holy Quran which have motivated us. Surah Al Imran says, O people of peace, devour not usually doubled and multiplied, but fear God that you may prosper. Surah Al Baqarah says, those who devour usury will stand on the day of judgment, like the one who is demented by Satan's touch. That is because they say trade is like usury, but God has permitted trade and forbidden usury. God will deprive usury of all his blessings, but we will give an increase for the deeds of charity. Now, these are words, obviously, which are very good to read and important to practice for ourselves. But what about the poor who do not have such choices? So, what is needed is solutions and institutions which implement these principles on a larger scale. As we started Lifeline, we paid great emphasis on the values we stand for. We opened a not for profit trust, we registered it. The trust will operate on a not for profit basis. The trust will fund its credits for permissible ventures only. The trust will not differentiate or discriminate on the basis of race, religion, caste, creed, gender, or color. The trust will adopt the highest standards of transparency and accountability in its financing dealings and all other aspects. The credit we give to the poor will not be based on any collateral or legally enforceable contracts, but based on trust and mutual cooperation as a means of enforcement. And it is primarily being offered to promote income generating activities as opposed to meeting the consumption needs. The trust shall operate without any political ambitions or goals and shall not endorse any political party. And we were very clear upfront that we will collect a transaction charge to partially meet the salaries of employees. So, just looking at a case of what exactly are the kind of problems we saw when we started Lifeline and which are still very much prevalent in the society out here. So Mubina Taj was a lady who would buy dirty bottles, glass bottles, wash them and sell them outside the Unani hospital so that the patients who go there can buy them and put their medicine and take it home. Her monthly turnover was around rupees 2000 in 2007. Uh, every fortnight, she would borrow around 1000 from the money lender, and the money lender would ask her to pay back 20 rupees every day for 60 days. This leads to an annualized rate of interest of around 226%, and she never realized it. And as a result, she's working very hard, but she's perpetually in debt and dependent on the money lender for every month for working capital. We just did a comparison of, uh, the kind of, terms which people get money from money lenders, people get money from MFIs, and people get money from Lifeline. And suppose the loan amount is 7,500 rupees, over a 20-week loan. In the money lender's loan, the weekly, what they say is basically you pay me, over 20 a weekly payment of 10% per month. That is typically the rate which the poor get money at, which actually works out to around overall, 50% is the effective burden. So the person is taking 7,500 but paying 11,250 rupees back. So excess paid is 3,750 over 5 months. Even there are many MFIs and SHGs in, which are in India right now. Even here, though the interest rate is very less, it could be something like, uh, 20 to 30% is usually the interest rate. So where they collect is say around 375 rupees a week, and they the effective repayment becomes 8,500 rupees. So even here, the poor end up paying around 1,000 rupees, 1,100 rupees on 7,500 rupees, which we still feel is very high. Whereas in Lifeline, as you will see going forward, uh, you know, While the weekly principal remains the same, the transaction charge we charge is around 15 rupees per transaction. So the person actually pays around 310 rupees higher than what they have taken. And so this way we are bringing each cycle of loan, we are bringing down the burden massively from, the poor people who are borrowing from money lenders or from MFIs. We want them to get out of those traps and take money and keep their hard-earned money for themselves rather than work hard and pay back their profits to the money lenders or to the MFIs. So how do we do it? Simple. We follow a Grameen model for group formation. Grameen model was invented by Professor Muhammad Yunus of Bangladesh, and there are 5 members in each group. Weekly meetings are held for collection of loan installments and disbursals. Loans are given without surety, using the moral obligation to facilitate payback. Loans are collected in equal installments as per the borrower's convenience, a maximum of 6 months usually. We have seen between 4 to 5 months is the average time which our borrowers are taking. Loans are restricted largely to women groups only, though we've experimented with around 20 men and been successful, although the model was slightly different that we didn't have weekly meetings, but the men we would send the person to collect money from them. All disbursals we do is through check only. Even if it's a person does not have a bank account, we give them a bearer check so that they get the experience of going to a bank and interacting with the people there. How do you start a branch, basically? First thing and most important thing, if you want to do this work, is to identify the right area. And area identification goes the following way. First is to identify reliable and like-minded people or team working in an area and work with them to bring in the credibility. It's very difficult for you to enter unknown areas and expect to do some wonders there. The team should be familiar with slum area and people, and get to know them better, because that is where you can be successful. The area should have poor women who are into small businesses and for whom such amounts of capital. In Bangalore, we are giving between 5,000 to 15,000. You can look at what in your area makes sense. Identify the key businesses they're involved in. Many of them will be into tailoring. Some of them will be into petty businesses, street vendors, etc. So what are the jobs they're doing? What are the problems faced by some of them? So as you start, please talk to as many of these people as possible to understand what they're doing and how you can help them. And identify a location for a weekly meeting. Usually and we've largely operated out of schools or halls which people have agreed to give us to without any cost and are rent free. And schools are usually available on weekends. They don't charge us, because we do it on Saturday, on Sunday, we can take one class home and do the work. So the location of the meeting, the area you identify and the location of the meeting has to be inside the slum, because this is very important. We have to make it convenient for the people to come there rather than open it in our areas and expect the borrowers to come to you weekly, because that is not going to happen. So while forming groups, right? A borrower must join a group of 5 borrowers. At least 2 members of the group can be related to one another at most, right? So this is to prevent that many people get together and, from the same family and could cheat you. The benefit of interest-free loan must be communicated very clearly to them right at the beginning. Loan sizes can be limited as per requirement. So don't set their expectations very high. We can start at 4,000, 3,000 rupees and then keep on building the loan, rather than, and also it's very important to interview and find out, for example, if the woman is buying rupees 4,000 worth of cloth every month and stitches it, there's no point in giving her 8,000, because physically she can only work on rupees 4,000 worth of cloth, right? Therefore, if you give her more money, she might spend it on other consumables, which will make it very difficult for her to pay back the loan as well. Group liability and mutual dependence must be explained very clearly. And here, what we do is morally, we try to tell them that, you should help each other. And if one person doesn't pay what happens is the interviews for the other team member gets delayed, and therefore they're impacting the others adversely. So that kind of a aspect should be explained to them very clearly. It is not that, if one person doesn't pay, anyone else is liable for their payment, but still, their repayment behavior can impact the others in their group. We should also make it very clear that loan is for productive income generating activities, not for consumption purposes, and that we will verify this through inspections. The group leader should usually be the last recipient of the loan in the group in the first cycle. Of course, once all the five of them get loans, it depends on how soon they're going to repay back the money that their next loan cycle can start. So, but however, in the first loan cycle, it will clearly be that the group leader will be the fifth member to get the loan. And typically, the way we start it, I will explain to you in further slides. And the group must be formed by members who know each other well. They could be neighbors, they could be, friends. Do not put unknown people in the same group, and the group must have similar loan sizes of requirements. It is very difficult to, if you have somebody expecting 15,000 rupees and another person expecting just 5,000 rupees in the same group. So how have we structured this organization and the work? So we have the trust and the trustees. We have many volunteers who've committed to spend their time every week for the meetings. They manage the affairs at each branch. And below them, there is a manager who is an employee of the trust who will operationally manage and maintain the work. And then there are two people at every branch who are volunteers who are working only part-time for 2-3 hours a week, called the loan officer and the accounts officer, right? And the signing of the checks can only be done by authorized trustees as per the law. And the group of volunteers can assist trustees and assume similar responsibilities, right? Only the staff, who is the manager and the loan officer, accounts officer, get any salary or honorarium. And the good thing is we've been able to employ teachers, imams, and housewives from the local area as our loan officers and accounts officers. What is the responsibility of the branch in charge? Could be a trustee or could be a volunteer. Basically, what they need to do is perform the loan interviews every week with people who are up for the next loan. They assess their need and sanction the loans, basically. And they oversee the regular meeting activities, ensure that everything is happening on time. And they review the weekly and monthly reports and registers. They sign checks. They follow up on chronic defaulters, someone who's not paid for 1.5 months. They make sure that the follow-up is done on them. They motivate the members, arrange for outside speakers and talks, organize other activities like health camps, education. So they have a branch, so they can do whatever they're interested in that branch. And they should have full commitment and be very regular. That is a very important requirement for the branch in charge. The managers' roles and responsibilities are obviously more operational. These are employees. We have one manager and one assistant manager who basically manage all our branches, 18 branches. Um, so they oversee the regular meeting activities. They lead, manage, and motivate the staff and members. They understand the local area. They build relationship with the community and the masjid. They prepare and present weekly and annual reports. It's their responsibility to maintain a high collection efficiency. If there are some good practices from one area, they can translate it and transport it to another area. They make sure that they're monitoring the activities and registers at every branch, and they deposit the loan collections in the banks without delay. So they're responsible for these activities. The loan officer is the person who does the inspection to ensure that the loan is being used properly. They organize and manage weekly meetings. They facilitate the disbursal and collections of loans to and from members. They follow up on defaulters and delayed payments. And of course, they assist the manager in their managerial activities. They maintain the loan register, the group register, and the loan completion registers. And they assist in buying assets on behalf of the buyers. Because after doing this work for some time, they know where the best material is available from. They have a lot of market information and they can help other people who are looking to the members who are looking to identify what to do. The accounts officer's work is to facilitate the collection and dispersal of loans, and they prepare the list of defaulters and delayed payments. They maintain the cash and check registers, enter the data into the databases, manage all the accounts and data, reconcile the cash with bank, and they prepare the weekly activity reports. So it's a very small team of basically, one or two committed people at the higher level, and one or two people to assist in carrying out the weekly activities, who you could pay an honorarium. We pay them between 200 to 400 rupees per week for around 2 to 3 hours of work. So it's like an honorarium that we pay them. It's not full-time employment, and they could be the local area people, like I discussed earlier. These are some photos of a few of our meetings, and where they're held. They could be held in halls. They could be held in schools, in classrooms, etc. And another thing we do is, see, we are not here in Lifeline only to transact money. That is a way of getting to know people better and to help bring some improvements and changes in their lives. So what we do is a kind of a moral kind of you could say influence by repeatedly making them say certain things. We would like them to inculcate and imbibe these into their daily lives. And this has also been shown as very effective by psychologists, that this technique of repeating something often enough so that it becomes a part of your whole psyche. These 12 decisions were actually helped and framed by Dr. Taha Mateen. I remember, many years back when we were sitting to do this, and he actively gave us suggestions and helped us to come up with these 12 decisions. And these decisions are: we shall be regular in prayers and encourage our near and dear ones to it. We shall bring prosperity, खुशहाली और खुशी अपने families में लाएंगे. टूटे फूटे घरों में नहीं रहेंगे. घरों की मरम्मत करेंगे और नए घर बनवाएंगे. बच्चों को पढ़ाएंगे ताकि उनका मुस्तकबिल बहुत सही अच्छा बने. और पाकी का बहुत खास ख्याल रखेंगे. और डौरी से बचेंगे. ना बेटों की शादियों में डौरी लेंगे, ना बेटियों की शादी में डौरी देंगे. और बचपन में शादियां नहीं करेंगे. और कोई भी जो है नाहक चीज या फिर एनी इनजस्टिस वी विल नॉट अलाउ. एंड हमेशा सच बोलेंगे और हक का साथ देंगे. और किसी की मदद करने के लिए हम हमेशा तैयार रहेंगे. और किसी की मुश्किल है तो उस मुश्किल को आसान करने में मदद करेंगे. गाली गलौच नहीं करेंगे, अपने खासकर अपने बच्चों के साथ, अपने बीवी या फिर अपने शौहर के साथ और माँ बाप के साथ, आजू बाजू वालों के साथ. और बुरी आदतों से बच के रहेंगे और दूसरों को भी बचाएंगे इससे, जैसे कि शराब या फिर जुआ या फिर तंबाकू, पान पराग वगैरह. और सूद ना लेंगे ना देंगे. और सूदखोरों या फिर जो मनी लेंडर्स हैं उनसे बचेंगे. और जो भी हम प्रॉमिस करेंगे, उस जो भी अहद करेंगे उसको हम पूरा करेंगे. और जो पैसे लिए हैं उसी मकसद से इस्तेमाल करेंगे और वापस करेंगे. सो वी मेक देम रिपीट दीज डिसीजंस, रिपीट इन एवरी मीटिंग. वी मेक देम टू कम एंड रीड इट, डिफरेंट मेंबर्स एवरी टाइम. And we also give them a short lecture of 5 minutes from a book called Adab-e-Zindagi, because our whole purpose is to simplify, good practices which our Deen has taught us, so that it could reach out to them and they can practice it in their daily lives. Coming to transaction charges, a fixed transaction of rupees 15 has been added to each payment. For nearly 9 years, this was rupees 10. And I've already explained to you how this works out. The total effective service charge over 5 months could work out to be around 300 rupees if they pay regularly. If they pay more than one installment in one meeting, even then the charge is the same. And this levy comes to between 2 to 6% depending on the size of the loan. So अगर लोन 5,000 का है या 15,000 का है, सर्विस चार्ज उतना ही रहेगा, बदलेगा नहीं लोन के साइज के हिसाब से. और थोड़ी we have collaborated with quite a few other organizations. Jamaat-e-Islami Hind is running one branch in Valmiki Nagar. Al Ansar Trust एक और है जो Al Hali में branch चलवा रहा है. They were not very comfortable with the transaction charge, and we have no problem with that. So what we ask them is, if you are able to bear the charges of paying the volunteers who are coming there every week from your own pocket, you can remove this charge and you need not pay it. So we are flexible. The model can be adopted in whichever way. If there are people who can commit to pay the 3,000-4,000 every month, which is the cost in every branch, for the people who come and volunteer there, and if you're employing a manager, of course, manager salary, etc. But we, of course, are very clear that we can charge a service charge. It is being allowed under various scholars have already given approvals to this. So yes, we do charge it. The only condition which is very critical, and we maintain this, is the sum collected as the fees charges should be within the actual expenditures incurred in giving out that and carrying out that activity. And we are very scrupulous about this, because if we collect anything excess of the actual expenditure, then it becomes again riba, and we have to avoid riba at all costs, because our whole purpose of doing this is to fight riba. So like I explained, the process, initiation, group formation, family data collection, ये सब पहले group activity start करने से पहले होता है. Weekly activities फिर रहते हैं. तो अगर जो कोई, if you're starting a branch, make sure that your commitment is weekly, that either you or somebody else who knows the operations gets committed and spends that time there. And of course, there's a lot of documentation. We are in the process of actually, putting in a software, implementing a software. There's a free software called MIFOS available, and we are currently, it's already live in 6 branches. We are moving it out to the remaining branches. But the point is that yes, it is hard work and continuous work, inshallah. So this is where we are operating, around 18 branches across Bangalore, North, South, and Central. And since the last 8-10 years in quite a few areas. And a little brief about what we have, alhamdulillah, achieved so far. And I'm sharing these with the purpose of not only reporting in the interest of fairness and transparency, but also as a source of motivation that whatever work we do, we should be consistent with it. We should continue our efforts, and inshallah, Allah will then give help it grow and give it success. So loan disbursals have been growing each year, and alhamdulillah have reached around 14.5 crores as of 31st March last year. We have stopped the loan activity due to COVID for 8 months. We've restarted it in December this year, but we had stopped for 8 months of this financial year. The total value of loans disbursed just in last financial year was around 2.43 crores. This was using a corpus of approximately around 1 crore. So we're able to roll around the money around 2.5 times every year. The total number of loans disbursed has been again growing continuously, around 23,279 loans. Average loan is around 7,313 rupees per borrower per cycle. Collections also have been, alhamdulillah, growing very well, reached total of 13.2 crores. And the value of loans collected has reached 2.24 crores in 2019-2020. The collection efficiency for the entire year has averaged around 92%, especially considering 2.5 loan cycles. This makes it, each loan cycle, the repayment rate makes it around 97%. And alhamdulillah, we're very happy with this, because we don't force the people. It is almost completely voluntary. And while there is a lot of delayed payment, there is very little default payments. So we understand some week if somebody falls sick, that 500 rupees went away in the doctor's bill. So they're not able to make that payment that week, and we are okay with that, right? So we don't force them, and alhamdulillah, and we are happy because, and we also realize there's a practical sense to this, because if they don't pay us back the money, they have to go back to a money lender who's really charging them very high. And now they've seen what benefit and these low costs of interest-free finance brings them. We additionally do a lot of grants and charity. See, like I said, our purpose is not just microfinance alone. We want to, understand, be a part of their lives, help them in whichever way we can. due to which we parallelly have a separate zakat account. So we have two accounts basically. One is for the sadaqah amount, which we use for rolling of giving the loans and taking it back, and we have a separate zakat or charity account, which we use only for for that purpose alone. And most of this money we've actually spent on medical aid and education. Those are the two main areas. We also have done quite a bit in some areas like ration, entrepreneurship training, debt clearance, etc. 14%. So administrative expenses, Alhamdulillah, we have only 3 full-time staff and around 39 paid part-time staff. Office space, furniture, etc., is being provided by all the trustees free of charge, and even the weekly meetings have been provided free of charge by various NGOs, schools, etc. So this is how we've been able to manage over the last 10 years. Coming to a little more detail on education and health, scholarships of around 80 lakhs have been given to 1,100 students, and loans. So we are shifting more and more from scholarships to loans, especially when it comes to higher education. We have given nearly 38 lakhs of loans to around 830 students. We organize annual loan and scholarship drives. And these loans, education loans, we don't even charge any transaction charge on these. We just give them and take them back, exactly the principal amount, because this is an additional activity which we are doing. Further, entrepreneurship development has been done. In fact, the numbers updated to around 228 right now. Medical cases, we know that medical or poverty is really, increased when the poor fall sick. They take loans from various places to clear the hospital bills, etc. So immediately they fall into deep poverty and take loans. So we said, unless we try to help in the medical area as well, we will not be solving the problem and preventing them from spending away all their savings or from taking loans. So we have done cumulative medical aid of around 1 crore over the last 8 years to around 530. In fact, most of this activity has been done in the last 3 or 4 years. And all disbursements are made directly to the institutions as far as possible. And we are also focusing on preventive healthcare, doing a lot of medical camps, mobile clinic camps in partnership with HBS, etc. And we're trying to save money which people would spend if they were going to doctors, by taking the doctors to them, giving them free medicines, etc. So we see that this whole microfinance activity helps us to, since we are meeting them every week, we get to know them better, and therefore we are able to understand their needs. Which family needs ration, which family has old people, where can we help in government schemes, linkages, all this we come to know, who needs education. So that is actually, in microfinance, becomes a foundation on which we can do a lot of other service to the people. Of course, in reporting and reach out also, we are trying to do whatever we can. And this is a very important aspect which mostly many people don't address. But it's very important to capture the data and to present it to people, whether they be donors, whether they be well-wishers, whether they be the government officials. It's very important to create these things regularly. We have, for example, a quarterly report which comes out every 3 months. It's a 3-page, 4-page report where we capture what all activities we've done in the last 3 months and keep it ready. We also publish annual reports which give details of the work we are doing, so that all these things matter a lot. Further, we are also using many social media channels now. Very recently, we have not been doing this for, but since a year, I think we've become active, because we really need to talk to motivate other people to come and join what work we do, whether it be just funds, whether it be in activities, or whether it be in the core work we do, which is microfinance as well. So we have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and a very good website. I would request you to check our website whenever you can, and you can see the various activities we've been doing, fairly regularly updated on that. And again, this is a very important thing which nowadays we have to keep doing, to both to record what we do and to talk about what good we are doing. Apart from this, one great benefit we saw is having a good organization really helped us respond very well to the COVID pandemic. And, we have a staff of 30, 40 volunteers. We have their information. They are all committed people. We can use them, and we use them to reach out for much of the relief work during COVID. Lifeline became a member of Mercy Mission, which was a coalition of NGOs joined together to fight COVID. Lifeline, together with Human Touch, we did ration kits worth of more than 1 crore across 50 locations across Karnataka, actually. Then we also collected ration kits from Mercy Mission helpline cases and other donors like Rotary, etc., and distributed them. We operated 3 Mercy kitchens in 3 of our slums where we served fresh, hot meal to people on the streets. And we also operated Mercy Transport, Mercy Oxygen, Mercy Booth activities. I would request you to check up on these. There's a lot of media on this. But we gave oxygen cylinders to the sick people. We did tests. We put booths in slums and did COVID symptom testing in the slums, and also towards bill clearance of COVID patients. In just around 3 months, September to November, we were able to do more than, in quarter two, we were able to do 10 lakhs and much more in quarter three, actually. So how are we propagating this model? So we are a not-for-profit volunteer-based organization, largely restricting our activities in Bangalore. But what we have done is we've partnered with many NGOs. Like I already mentioned, Jamaat-e-Islami Valmiki Nagar, it's working. Federation of Karnataka Muslim Associations is operating a branch with us in Dinnur, Alansar, in Alhali, Humane Touch in Goripalla and Mominpura. So we've partnered with NGOs, existing NGOs, and doing this work. We've also trained many NGOs to start microfinance on their own. We don't see them as competition. We are all collaborating. We are all here to do good. So we've trained people from not only our city, but many other cities and states. We've prepared very comprehensive documentation and share that and train other people up in it. And we appeal, like-minded organizations to replicate this model. And we are willing to provide all kinds of help to them. And the key trustees and volunteers, there are quite a few, obviously operating 18 branches across the city. I would like to mention here, Iqbal Gudiyal Saab of Valmiki Nagar from Jamaat-e-Islami, who's been our constant person right from the last 7 years with the branches working. Mukarram Ishaq Saab, again, he was a customs officer with Government of India, again associated with Jamaat. He, after retirement, took up 2 branches and which are working very, very well in Kavalbai, Sandra, and in Shampur. Again, people who are using their time very effectively to sit with the poor, to work with them, to help understand their problems and to grow with them. So this is, and of course, a lot of doctors and other people associated with us as well. So I will end my presentation here, and I'm looking forward to the kind of questions we will have in our question and answer session. Here are our contact details. Musab is our manager. He is also actually, he hails from SIO. And I'm really pleased that, SIO has produced such a gem of a person. He's done his master's in sociology from Christ College. And, that is very critical that, those are the right skills and right background. Apart from this, we have Azhar, again, former SIO, who helps us with all our media work. So, we are, the kind of collaborations we've been having with Jamaat have been very, very positive. Of course, we ourselves, myself included, have been always guided by Dr. Taha Mateen right from since I returned to India. And we have other very good associates here as well. And of course, I cannot but mention Feroz Abdullah Saab, who initiated and started Lifeline, and who's behind many of these initiatives in Bangalore. So we are always open to any collaborations. I look forward to this session and to engaging with you. And thank you very much for your patient listening. I will end this presentation here and look forward to the question and answer session when we meet on the 13th of January. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.